If you call me, I'm coming.
Okay.
Free of charge.
All right.
But they want me to leave the book with them.
Okay.
And it's hard to say no to the kids, but I can't leave it with them because it costs
exactly.
to make the books. Give a shout out to my printer, Tony. He's fabulous.
Hey, Tony.
He works. His name is Tony Wilson. He works with me a lot.
Okay.
So I had this thing I wanted everybody to like buy a book and donate it to the Boys and Girls because I can't leave these books here. I wouldn't make any money. I don't mind leaving the books.
Right.
But it costs to print them, and I'm a teacher, so I don't have that kind of money.
I understand.
But it was so nice. My a cousin of mine brought some books. It was like, give those books away, but you have to start somewhere. So if I have 5 books to give out this week, then maybe somebody bought 5 more. But it's just the feeling that I get when I go read to them, especially little black girls in particular, because when they see Pinky, they automatically kind of identify. And I went roundabout with the girl who was drawing her to make her darker.
Yes.
Because I wanted the little girls to know that she represents them.
Yes.
And so when you look at her, you don't have to guess, is she mixed? Is she,
right.
No, she's African American. I want them to know that off the top. And that's why, she's as dark as she is, because I wanted to look. But when they see her, they kind of relate to her. Mm-hmm. And even little girls like, I have a friend of mine. Her little girl's grown. Okay. But I forgot what she suffers from. But when I wrote Pinky, she was so happy. She was like, oh, Pinky has a problem with her legs like I do.
Right. That would be great. Do you read them at the hospital, Children's Hospital?
Well, I'm going to read them at Memorial Hospital, but I couldn't read them until after flu season because they have these rooms that you go in. Yes. And they're not letting anybody come and do anything until after. I think it's March or I forgot what month it was, but you can't come in because it's flu season at the hospital.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah, true.
But I read them, and I read them too. I had targeted K through like 2nd grade. Okay. But it went way beyond that. Like I have like 5th and 6th graders reading Pinky.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would like to definitely invite you to our mother and daughter brunch in March, so you can come out there with your books. That'll be great. That'll be super great.
So the kids will benefit greatly from hearing that.
Definitely. Yeah, so at this time, we're going to go back to our future mayor of CPT, Compton.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give me a sign this week, and I'm going to make sure I put him in my yard.
That's right.
Okay, I got to make.
And I have a lot of love for Compton because I worked in Compton for like 9 years.
Yeah, I know. So you can be alone, but you can still put that sign up in your front yard. And it's just representing. So we going to get us some signs and stuff. And we gonna advertise this thing.
What made you want to run for mayor?
Well, I mean, I live in my community. I'm from Compton. And I look around. I see the issues. I work for the city. So I have a bird's eye view of a lot of the situations that affect our community. And I just don't think our city is being serviced the way it should be serviced politically. So instead of asking somebody else to do it, I decided to jump out there myself and get it done. So I'm ready to serve.
So I'm talking
Bottom
about
line, just ready to serve.
Right. So I have a question. Okay, we have a question. What's your question? This is from our awesome engineer.
I just wanted to know if you were elected, what would you like? Would you make any changes to like the education in like the Compton district?
So the way it's structured intergovernmentally in Compton, in terms of our system, is that we have a school board, we have a Compton College board. Even though El Camino,
I graduated from Compton College.
Even though El Camino actually uses those facilities, they have an actual board. Then we also have our city council. 3 different entities. What we could do is work directly with those boards, but we can't influence policy and direction. We can't make them do the things we want them to do. But that's why it's so important for us to have a good relationship with all the intergovernmental systems in our city, because we need each other and we need to work together to make our city better. For the community. So I would like to say that I will do all I can to build those relationships and healthy relationships with the politicians that are in office. But the community also has an obligation to acknowledge that if the politicians aren't serving them correctly, if they aren't willing to work with other politicians and work with the community and represent the community properly, the community has to consider it during voting time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And pay attention. Don't wait till the last minute to say something. Don't wait till the day after the election and feel like you want to put your 2 cents in. This is the time to act now, to prepare for that day, April 18th, a day before my birthday.
That's right.
I was like, okay.
But you know that I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the sad parts about how we perform in our political system, and it's across the world, not just in Compton, but more specifically in Compton. We'll come out for the presidential election. We'll come out for certain popular elections.
Right.
But those elections don't influence our community as much as local elections and local politics influence our community. And I think that it's a disservice almost to our city when people don't come out and vote and participate in a political process on a local level, because local decisions affect the community more than any type of political decisions. Although all political decisions affect the community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So once you get into office, as we claiming it, this is our
future
mayor of Compton. What is one of the first things that you want to get on, like, to get the job done? What is one of the first things that you plan on doing?
Yeah, actually, I want to address the streets. I can't.
I was gonna say the potholes, but I wasn't gonna say nothing. Because right there on Tejada in 142nd.
Yeah, so I can't wait to get in office because I don't want to start politicking the community. I want to be honest with the community.
Yes.
So one of the first things I need to do is make sure I'm available to see the books, to see where we have resources, where we can kind of mix up some resources legally and responsibly.
Definitely.
Pull in places that would be responsible decisions to pull from, so we can probably allocate more money towards our infrastructure, but specifically repairing our streets.
Right.
Because it's very dangerous. It's a state of emergency.
Very dangerous.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a state of emergency at this point.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Our streets are so bad because you have police and fire who are slowed up by streets being in such poor condition.
Yes.
They have to avoid potholes, get into emergency calls. Sometimes they have to come to a complete stop. And if you've ever driven in Compton during a rainy season like it is now, you almost can't tell whether or not you're about to run over a little pothole or
a big pothole.
Yeah, exactly. So you can tear up your car.
Rose
so we're in a state
of make it right and just slow down.
So I hope to work with all the council members and also work with the community. Directly work with the community, not indirectly. So that we can start to address our streets right away.
And that's how I feel like you're truly of a service to the community as a leader. You really have to get out there with the people in the community. I don't want to change subject, but that's what I enjoy a lot about Pastor Rayford Owens.
Yes, ma'am.
He's out there.
Yeah,
he's out there. He's in the streets. He's painting houses. He's much more than a pastor, an officer. He's a true friend of the community.
Yeah, so he's a servant.
He's definitely a servant. So I'm really excited about your run and for you to be a president. I remember the first time I seen you in person.
Yes, ma'am.
We were at the aquarium, and it's like
you remember that?
We noticed each other right off the back.
Yeah, right in the back part by the little play area.
Yes. So I was like, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
But that was a great moment. And this is another question that I have. So when you become mayor, are we going to have our parade back? Are we going to get the Compton parade back in the city?
I think we ought to prioritize which events we feel are core to our city.
Okay.
And I think the parade is something that I would support and make sure resources are available. But we have to admit that we are in an economic situation.
Yeah, we are in an economic situation.
We have to live a little bit more conservatively.
Definitely.
And we can't just spend.
Right, definitely.
We have to be very wise. But I think that we can also have parades and the things that bring our community together. But the parade is something that
represents the community, the small businesses.
I think we still can have those if we plan it out and make sure the money is available and also live and spend conservatively.
Definitely.
So we shouldn't have a problem in that regard.
Right, definitely.
But I have to say that we have to, from my vantage point, from what I know, in an honest kind of way, we have to start to look at living and governing with a little bit more discipline and conservatively, to be honest. So I have to admit that. I can't go any further without admitting that.
So personally, how do you prepare yourself for a run as a mayor of a city?
Well, it's a big task. A person like me, you know, I just see that there's a need from our community, and the operative word is from our community.
Yes.
I think that we haven't had enough politicians who've groomed or taken the time to take people from Compton, groom them to take on leadership in Compton politically. And then it leaves a gap for people from the outside to come in.
Because Compton definitely has within itself what it takes to run Compton.
Yeah. We have a lot of talented and skilled people in Compton.
Yes, we do.
Our schools district, although we aren't a perfect school district, produces a lot of smart people who are skilled enough to be able to take on leadership in Compton. And I think that's where we need to start to invest our time once we become politicians, is going back into the community and developing those talents. And and not allow those gaps to be, because for me, I have to just jump out there.
Right.
I can't say I was mentored. I can say, fortunately, I'm from Compton. I went to all Compton schools. I've never been to a school outside of Compton until I went to college.
Okay.
And I have been supported throughout my education by teachers and mentors. So I've been encouraged from my early in life to run and be more involved. But I don't know if that opportunity is available for kids who are coming now. And that's one of the things I want to dedicate my time to is grooming talent from our community.
Okay. So, and future mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
How does your wife and your family feel about this?
Well, my family is very, very happy and supportive.
That's
great. And one story I'll share is that my mom is my biggest supporter.
Okay.
And then I remember when I ran for council, and that's a story I can share. I actually ran for city council, 4th district, and our election was April 2015. And I ran a very disciplined election. I also was very selective in terms of where I got support from and where I got money from, because I think what happens in our political system is we'll receive money from almost anybody.
Right.
And usually it's outside sources. And then you become a little obligated, even though you may not want to admit that, you become a little obligated to become a friend of those individuals. But those individuals may not have Compton's best interests at heart.
Right.
So I was very selective in terms of where I got resources from and support. And then all my resources and support were local.
Okay.
But I didn't have a lot of money.
Okay.
But the miracle in it is that I was an upstart, and at the end of the day, at the end of the general election, I was 9 votes from qualifying to participate in the runoffs against then incumbent Dr. Jones, and I was 9 votes behind now sitting Councilwoman Emma Sharif. And so she had a little bit more money, and she was actually at the time a sitting school board member.
Okay.
And so you run in neck and neck with her, and I had surpassed about a few upstarts, and then I had surpassed another school board member.
Okay.
So the community really responded to the message. Although I didn't have a lot of resources to get the message out the way I would like to have gotten it out, I didn't compromise my values. I didn't compromise who I was just to sell out to be in that position. I felt that I was okay with the resources we had, and that if we would have made a few more adjustments here and there along the way, we could have had a different outcome. But I think that is what it is, and everything is in God's hands. So if it was for me to be in that position, I would be. So
definitely. So that's awesome. That's great, just to be able to have the endurance.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a person, they don't win an election or close to it, they get discouraged. So that's awesome. Be encouraged, and
thank you.
Running for mayor, though, you know what I'm saying. So
one of the stories I will share, if we can have a little fun with it, is that you get beat up on a little bit, and and when you look at me, I'm 40. Okay, so sometimes people from my mere appearance, they assume that I'm a little bit softer than what I actually am.
Okay.
But sometimes you don't know that until you go through the test.
Right, true.
And so I'm glad and fortunate that I had an opportunity to go through the test of running for office. I know myself a little bit better politically, and I know that I'm ready for the job, and I'm ready for all the things that come along with it.
Okay.
And so it's just funny how when you do jump out there and your heart is pure, you really don't have a motive. A selfish motive for doing it. You just really want to be a part of something positive, a positive movement, and but you could take a lot of heat and from the community, which is good, because you have to be responsible to the community, and you should have to answer to the community as well.